Here we are at Bonn, Germany, and the runner takes off for third, but foul ball. Short recap. And top half of the first inning, Noah Lind struck out the first two batters. Then the third hitter, Jordan Bradley, the right fielder for Berlin, hit a double just inside the left field line. And currently at bat is the cleanup hitter and third baseman Miceli Skui. Skui with 2 home runs already this season. Dangerous hitter, .406 average so far. Lind throws back to second, and Eddie Stommel sneaks in the back door, but safe. Bradley back on second base safely. Counts 1-1 to Skui. Vinny Arlens, the battery mate of Noah Lind. Lind steps off the rubber and chases Bradley back to second. Skui with a very open stance. And the runner takes off for third base again. Vinny Arlens can't get a clean grip of the ball and does not throw. And so stolen base for Jordan Bradley. Brings the potential leading run, first run of the game, 90 feet closer. As Skui steps back into the batter's box. Count is 2-1, and that pitch is low. And the count goes to 3-1. Strong winds going from right to left field. Have really wonderful playing conditions today. Next pitch, 3-1, and a high towering pop-up to second baseman Eddie Stommel, who gets under it and pulls it in for the third out of the inning. Oh, runner gets to third base for the Flamingos, but he's stranded there. And the score is 0-0 after the first half of the inning of the game. You're listening to Capitals TV and watching. Back at the Rhino Stadium, heading into the bottom of half of the first inning. And left-hander Enorbel Marquez on the mound. Marquez Ramirez for the Flamingos came over, now has a new role in addition to his pitching talent.
And it's a bit a surprise that he starts the first game today, because over the last course of the games he started the second game. So he's on the mound today. So he's the Flamingos veteran, but although he's already 47 years old, he has proven over the last weeks how strong he still is. And this is why they have a record of 5-4. So he and he's a playing coach. He came back to Berlin after 3 years in Heidenheim.
Yeah. 3 starts, game started, 26 innings racked up. So impressive with the 2.73 ERA in those 3 games. A lot of innings, dependable pitcher, left-hander. Really, it's a cliche, but he's a wily veteran. And when you're 47 years old and you're still pitching in professional baseball, then you have to depend on your smarts. And watching him warm up, he takes it very easy. He's not throwing hard heat here. He's saving that for the game itself. And the first pitch to Eric Blank, and that one's outside. Well, the first 3 batters for the Capitals in today's game, Eric Blank playing shortstop, followed by the right fielder, Wilson Lee, and Dan Lamb Hunt playing first base. They're the 1, 2, 3 slots.
Yeah, so Max Schmitz changed a little bit the batting order. So Wilson Lee normally at number 4
In the cleanup.
hits at the second spot today.
Yeah. And Eric Blank ahead on that one, and he's falling behind in the count 1 and 2. And the Capitals are very familiar with playing against Marquez Lamilas in the recent championships, and that is Eric Blank runs that one out. A slow grounder to the shortstop, and despite a strong throw by Cruzado Rodriguez, doesn't beat the speed of Eric Blank, and he gets an infield single, and that brings up Wilson Lee. Wilson Lee.
Yeah, Wilson last weekend with the phenomenal weekend last week. So he had 7 hits, 12 RBIs, 3 home runs, including a Grand Slam home run. So he was the player of the week in the baseball Bundesliga.
That's similar to Michael Escui with an open stance in the batter's box. Eric Blank with a good lead. And there's a shot under the glove of the diving Rodriguez, and Eric Blank turns to second. He's going to go to third standing up. Wilson Lee has to dive back into first. He's safe. It's the Capitals with the runners on first and third already. Got some business going against the veteran Marquez Rodriguez. And that will bring up Dan Lamb Hunt, the first baseman in today's game for the Capitals. Lamb Hunt batting a good .300 this season. 5 RBIs. Looking for his first home run. Let's see if he can do that now as the wind shifts a little bit, blowing out more to left center field. First pitch outside, ball 1. It's good to get ahead of a pitcher like Marquez Rodriguez early, because once he gets settled in, it's a tough nut to crack. And a little behind on that. That evens the count 1-1 as it flies over the right field stands or first base line. Well, Dan Lamb Hunt has let his hair grow a little bit.
No, not a little bit. He didn't go to the hair cutter since we have Corona.
That's right. Keep on forgetting that COVID is already 2 years old. And that one under the glove of Marquez Rodriguez. Cruzado Rodriguez steps on second, throws the first for the double play. A run scores. Eric Blank can come home. And the Capitals go ahead already 1-0 on that double play. For those keeping score at home, it's unassisted 6-3. And Marquez Rodriguez took a tumble as he was reaching for that ball and rolled over. And he is now hunched behind the mound. As a couple of the players come to talk to him. He's walking back up to the rubber. And has the ball in his glove. Stepping to the plate is number 8, Danny Sanchez. Base paths are now empty after the double play with the run scored. Danny Sanchez batting .444.
Yeah, you can see on his average. He's new in Bonn this year, and he was right there from the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, he missed 2 games because of an injury, but last week and the first weekend, he has shown what he's able to do.
Yeah. Playing third base today. Count goes to 1-1. Against the cleanup hitter. Well, Danny Sanchez with 1 home run, 6 RBIs so far this season. And 18 at-bats. That counts 2-1. Next pitch comes and holds just in time. The count goes to 3-1. He delivers, and there's a fly ball to right field. And
no problem.
No problem for Jordan Bradley, and that is the third out of the bottom half of the first inning. But 1 run comes across for the Capitals, and they pull ahead 1-0. This is Caps TV. Watching Noah Lint with his final warm-up pitch. And you have to think about this, Angela.
Yeah.
We could have 2 Noah Lints, and still they would have fewer years than Marquez Rodriguez.
That's true. By far fewer.
It wouldn't be bad to have 2 Noah Lints the way he's pitching this year.
We have both sides of the game today. We have the youngster with 18, and we have the veteran with 47.
Yeah.
Both lefties.
Both lefties. After 2 strikeouts in the first inning, and first batter for the Flamingos, Jeffrey Arndt, the center fielder. He'll be followed by Joel Chongo Rivera, the catcher, and batting third this inning is the DH for the Flamingos, Philip Thomas. Arndt turned, squared to bunt, and takes strike 1. Next pitch from him. Noah Lint, and that one's low. Ball 1, 1-1 now the count. To the first batter for the Flamingos this inning. Jeffrey Arndt batting .297, and he fouls that one straight back. Just at the top of the fence. The Flamingos are a running team with leading the league by a long shot. Find my statistics there. I think they have. Oh, where is that? That's the next pitch, 2-2. That one's high and outside, and count goes full. So, sorry, Flamingos are the second runningest team in the league behind the Steelers of Hamburg. Still with 25 stolen bases, far ahead of the Capitals with just 8. And that ball is fouled off as a youngster gathers the ball in. The count remains 3-2. So far, Noah Lint has been kept relatively, not too many innings. He's pitched now 17 total, and this is now his 4th start. They keep him about 5 innings.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. I mean, he came into this season taking over the starting pitcher position from Sascha Koch, who will probably be back tomorrow, but not as a starting pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
And so he took over the starting pitcher position, and he's doing a tremendous job.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the numbers speak for themselves. He's did surrender a walk there. He's given up 10, but earned run average already named 1.13. He's got 2 victories, 28 strikeouts now. That runner on first base, Jeffrey Arndt, is somebody who likes to steal. He has 2 so far this season. And in the batter's box is the catcher, Joel Chongo Rivera.
So, but we also have Noah Lind, who has already 5 pickups.
And he
this season.
And he gets in
and
his 6th.
And he is number 6.
Yep. 5 pickups. Now we got 6 as Jordan Bradley, or I'm sorry, Jeffrey Arndt.
No.
He seemed, and now they're going to call it a balk. And now they're going to call that a balk, and that's got Matt Schmitz.
The home plate umpire calls it a balk.
And so what looked like pickoff number 6 turns into a balk. And Max Schmitz doesn't understand that the home plate umpire would call something like that. It's going to be more of a first base umpire call. That's how he gets his words and shakes a finger or two at the home plate umpire. So,
it's okay. Nobody is happy in the from the Bonn Capitals with that call. So.
Sorry. No. Now there's a little bit of trouble for the Capitals in the top half of the second. There is 1 out, and the next batter.
It's not 1 out because it was taken
back.
Know.
Yeah, that is a mistake. So that out should be removed from the scoreboard. And Noah Lind doesn't get that call, and he testily catches the ball. Joel Chongo Rivera stays in the batter's box. Count is 2-1. And he rips one into left field. And Jeffrey Arndt, he's going to get the stop signal. He would have been picked off at home. So now runners on first and third after Chongo Rivera's single. And that'll bring up the DH. Number 33, Philip Thomas. A little bit of a pinch here for the 18-year-old Bonn pitcher. Runners on the corners. First pitch called strike one. 2, Tomas. The big DH. Batting .400, but it's only has 5 at-bats so far this season. Next pitch is Noah Lint going back to the fastball. Well, this one's 1-1. Our ball and makes it 1-1. Next pitch in, and that's a big swing and a miss. 1-2 now as Noah Lint gets ahead of the DH for the Flamingos. Strikeout would be very helpful here, and they could turn a double play to end the inning. But let's first get business done here with Tomas. And inside pitch, he turns on it to protect himself, and he fouls it into the Berlin dugout. The count remains 1-2. One and two pitch, and that one's hits Eddie Stommel. He's going to turn to go to second, over to first, double play. Good pickup out of the dirt there by Dan Lamb Hunt. So they turn to double play, but a run comes across the plate.
Same with the Capitals before.
Exactly.
A double play, but a run.
Double play with runs scored in the last 2 half innings. Oh, the base paths are now empty. On a 4-6-3 double play. Nicely turned by Eddie Stommel, and a good pick out of the dirt from the first baseman, Dan Lamb Hunt. And stepping into the batter's box is Dennis Zela, playing second base today and he turns, squares to bunt, takes ball 1. One straight down the middle for strike 1. 1-1 now to Zela. Dennis Zela batting .125. 1 hit in 8 at-bats. And strike 2. As the home plate umpire getting emphatic here with his call. Next pitch from Noah Lint. Fastball right down the middle for strike 3. And so the Flamingos tie the game on a double play ball, and it's 1-1. This is CapsTV. Heading into the bottom half of the second inning, Vinny Arons will lead off, the catcher, followed by Danny Lankhorst and Nick Miceli playing DH. Lankhorst is the center fielder for the Capitals in this game. Well, Vinny Arons, Vinny Arons batting .269 so far this season.
Yeah, Winnie had a very good first weekend, but since then is not really successful.
Quieted down some.
So went down a little bit in average. So
well, let's see if he can pick it up. Counts 0-1 as that one's called strike 2. Marquez Ramirez depends a lot on his curveball, and there's a shot to the shortstop, and that ball is thrown in the dirt as the shortstop couldn't get a handle on the ball and popped out of it. Kurzawa Rodriguez, and he threw it in the dirt, and so Vinny Arons reaches on an error. E6 for those scoring at home. Which brings up the center fielder, Danny Lankhorst. Lankhorst with a respectable .333 batting average, 12 at-bats, 4 hits.
So he didn't play last weekend. He was sick, so he was a week off.
Has a week off, back to health. 1 home run so far this season, and he turns the bunt, and he lays that one nicely down the first base line, and the pitcher can't get a handle of it. And Lankhorst is safe. Arons, of course, is safe at second. Well, we have the first 2 batters reach base, 1 on an error, 1 on a bunt single. And this is something that the Capitals, if they like to bunt, can take advantage of as Marquez.
Yeah, and
Ramirez is simply not as agile.
No, but Danny Lankhorst, I mean, you have seen that pretty often in the last years, that he's a good bunter, and he is very fast. So.
Well, batting now, Nick Miceli. Miceli batting .250 so far this season. Has managed to draw 5 walks. And he also lays down a bunt. And this one, no chance but to go to first is the only way. And so, Nick Miceli sacrifices the runners over to second and third base as they're testing their bunting skills today. Runners now in scoring position at second and third base. Left fielder Ricardo Migliore stands in, number 77.
Yeah, playing great games over the last games. He didn't play first weekend, but since then he has good hitting.
Yeah. Migliore batting .400. Also a little bit of trouble for Marquez Ramirez this inning. He steps off the rubber. Lankhorst with a big lead, and the infield is in. They're looking to stop the Capitals from taking the lead. They're going to try and go home if they can field the ball. And a big cut there. Migliore misses. Count now 1-1. A little surprising that in the second inning they'd play the infield in, because if the ball gets through, that's 2 runs for certain. And there's a grounder, then it gets right past the shortstop because he was not playing back. And Danny Lankhorst scores standing up. 2 runs score on a RBI single by Ricardo Migliore.
Yeah, so Miller has shown again his skills, his hitting skills. He did that last week in against Doran also. There were runners on the bases, and he had his RBIs.
Yeah. And so Eddie Stommel will be stepping to the plate. Runner on first base with a modest lead, you could say. And that pitch is outside for ball one. Well, Migliori, the left fielder, not known for his speed necessarily. Next pitch comes, and that's also turns to bunt. Stommel, but that one's foul. Evening the count, 1-1. Two runs already across the plate for the Capitals here in the bottom half of the second. 3-1 the score. One out. It counts 1-1. Runner on first base. Eddie Stommel, he hits one nicely there. And that's going back, left field. And the left fielder makes a catch there. And Riccardo Migliori has to dash back to first base. He was all the way at second. Nice wood on the bat.
Yeah, absolutely. And the left fielder was not quite sure, so he ran a little late to the back. So
Gabriel Tova-Collet just got it at the warning track, and Eddie Stommel a little frustrated there, understandably. Long fly ball. That's the second out of the inning, and brings up Eric Blank again. Leadoff hitter for the Capitals. Hit a single in the first inning. Came home to score the first run of the game. And he swings and misses. Now in the hole, 0-2. Oh, 2 pitch and a grounder to the shortstop. And looked a little confusing there, but they managed to get Migliori out at second to force out to end the bottom half of the second, but not before the Capitals plate 2 runs to go back in the lead 3-1. So after 2 full innings, 3-1, this is CapsTV.
Dein Sport, dein Team, überall live. Fußball, Eishockey, Basketball, alle Spiele live. Jetzt auf magentasport.de buchen. Dein Sport, dein Team, überall live. Fußball, Eishockey, Basketball, alle Spiele live. Jetzt auf magentasport.de buchen. Dein Sport
ist Mia. Mia hat zu Hause einen richtig schönen Designboden, der aber auch leider oberflächige Schäden und tiefe Kratzer aufweist. Dr. Schütz hat dafür die Lösung mit Produkten für die Reinigung und Pflege, wie das Designboden-Pflegeset und um tiefe Kratzer zu beseitigen, das Scratch Fix Repair Set. Und damit Mia genau weiß, wie man ihre Böden zu Hause perfekt pflegt und schützt, gibt es unsere Tutorials auf dem Dr. Schütz YouTube-Channel. Für Mia und euch alle. Damit muss sich Mia nicht mehr um ihre Böden sorgen, sondern kann ganz beruhigt unsere Caps anfeuern. Go Caps! Das ist Mia.
To lead off the top of the third inning for the Berlin Flamingos is shortstop Patrick Cursaura Rodriguez. Somewhat miniature in stature, the shortstop. And he's the 9th batter in their lineup. He's batting .250 so far this season. With 10 hits and 36 at-bats. So after getting ahead on the count 2-0, it's now 2-1 on a called strike. Next pitch catches the outside corner of the plate, and it is now even 2-2. After Kurosawa Rodriguez will be the lead-off hitter Tim Wegner, and first though, Noah Lint records another strikeout, catches the shortstop looking. A left-handed hitter, Tim Wegner, he struck out his first appearance, his first at-bat in the first inning, and he takes a big cut. Strike one. Now the wind shifting a little more from left to right. Started the game right to left. It's swirling, and the count is now 0-2.
Some dark clouds on the left side, so hopefully not coming over here.
Yeah. There is a small chance of rain this evening. But absolutely glorious conditions to play baseball. Not too hot. Little wind. Count now 1-2. To Wegner, and the curveball, he fouls back. As he held back just long enough and managed to foul it. First baseman stands in again. That fastball is fired past him for yet another strikeout. That is number 5 so far for Noah Lint, bringing his total for the season to 31 strikeouts. Left fielder Gabriel Tovar-Collet now at the plate. And he takes strike one, as the Flamingo hitters are having their problems at the moment with Noah Lint. And there's a fly ball to right field, and it's dashing in. Wilson Lee catches it standing up for the third out in the first 1-2-3 inning for Noah Lint, which means the score does not change. It's 3-1 Bonn Capitals. This is Cat. Would be eliminated in the double play that Dan Lamb Hunt hit into in the bottom half of the first, but Eric Blank scored on that play. Oh, the first batter for the Capitals in the bottom half of the third, and that's strike one. In case you're not familiar with all of the rules and intricacies of baseball, hitting into a double play with a run scoring does not count as an RBI. As opposed to if you only one out is recorded, you would be given credit for an RBI. Counts now 0-2. As Wilson Lee goes down swinging, which will bring up Dan Lamb Hunt. Marquez Rodriguez settling in a little bit. And there's a ground ball to the shortstop, who's getting a lot of activity today, and that one takes the runner, or the first baseman off the base, the high throw, and that allows Lamb Hunt to get in there safely ahead of the sweep tag by Tim Wegner. So runner reaches base on yet another error. And stepping in will be Danny Sanchez. Flied out to right field in his first at-bat. And that one's high and inside for ball one to Sanchez. So far this season, the Capitals with just 8 stolen bases in 6 games and change. And there's a line shot over to the second baseman, and his throw back to first gets through the legs of Tim Wagner. Might have hit Dan Lamb Hunt, who had to dive back into first base. And so he's safe. But that's the second out of the inning. And now stepping in to the batter's box is number 5, Vinny Ollins, the catcher. Well, Vinny Ollins reached base on an error in the second inning. He would come around to score, and he takes strike 1. That was a bang-bang play at first base just now, as Dan Lamb Hunt had to dive back to stay in the game, stay on the base paths. One and one count, 2 outs in that curveball inside. And the catcher, Chongo Rivera, for the second pitch in a row, has to smother the ball, but keeps it in front of him or near him, and Dan Lamb Hunt can't advance. 2 and 1 now the count, 2 outs. Next pitch, curveball fouled off by Vinny Ollins. The count goes to 2 and 2. Two pitch coming to Vinny Ollins. Marquez Rodriguez, and there's a ground ball. And because Dan Lamb Hunt was stealing, the second baseman was going over to cover second and got caught on the wrong foot, and he couldn't stop the ball. And so now Capitals have runners on first and third. As Dan Lamb Hunt kept on running there. I have to call that one a single. I'll call it a single. Don't know if anyone else will. And that gives a chance for Danny Lankhorst to do some more damage to the Flamingos. He laid down a bunt single in the second inning. He'd come around to score also on Ricardo Migliori's single. And he hits a weak grounder to second base, and he throws to Tim Wagner for the third out of the inning. A no-run score, despite a small threat after the 2 outs. The score remains 3-1 after 3 full innings. This is CapsTV. Jordan Bradley, Michael Lascui, and Jeffrey Arndt facing the young left-hander. Jordan Brantley hit a double in his first at-bat down the left field line.
Yeah, so he's new to the Flamingos, but he has shown quite some expertise. Especially his hitting. I think his batting average is over 400. And
yeah, after the hit.
so good newcomer to Berlin Flamingos.
And the Flamingos have played 9 games. They're 5-4, so he hits a high fly ball to Eddie Stommel, gets under it and reels it in for the first out.
I mean, the Flamingos have a lot of new players. I mean, like, I think 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
They changed the whole lineup with non-Germans, so to speak.
Mm.
And
they have new manager, player manager,
yeah.
Marquez.
Yeah, I know Bell was a German national team player.
Yeah.
So he's from Cuba originally, but he lives in Germany for so long, so he has German citizenship.
And the first pitch to the third baseman at Scooey is called ball 1, and he takes a big swing, and the count evens at 1-1. That one forces Scooey to show off his dancing skills and jump up over that ball. And the sun has disappeared. Lights might be coming on soon.
Lights are already on.
Are they already on?
They want.
And he slaps one into shallow center field, right center field, and Wilson Lee gets there first for the second out of the inning.
Another fly ball here for the second out.
Yeah, Noah Lintz getting a lot of fly outs here. And that brings up the center fielder, Jeffrey Arndt. Jeffrey Arndt has scored the lone run for the Flamingos in this game. And he takes a big cut for strike 1. That's Noah Lynch showing off his pitching abilities the last 2 innings. Got the 5 batters in a row. There's strike 2. Well, Nick Miceli attempted a bunt in his first at-bat, was thrown out at first. And he takes strike 1. And that curveball is fouled off as Nick Miceli falls into a hole 0-2. Now Nick is still looking for his batting groove.
Yeah, but even if the batting is not top-notch this season so far, I mean, it's good, but it's not extraordinary.
Yeah.
But on the mound, I mean, he was the closer in several games,
Yeah.
and he makes a tremendous job there. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and that one's a bit high, and now the count is even at 2-2. Fouls that one back.
We were just checking the umpire names.
Yes.
And these are all new to the Bonn Capitals.
Okay.
I haven't seen them here.
Okay,
So
well.
the home plate umpire is Ramon Weiss
Ramon Weiss.
with a V and SZ at the end.
Okay.
Ramon Weiss.
Uh-huh.
The first base umpire is Ralf Kuring.
And that ground ball to the second baseman throws to Tim Beck now. Ralf Kuring.
Ralf Kuring.
Kuring, sorry.
Und Dirk Weiland.
Okay. Well, a new crew in Bonn.
Yeah.
And Nick Miceli grounds out to the second baseman. And the skies are growing dark, and it's not just because the sun is setting, as clouds have rolled in. And batting Riccardo Migliori with 2 RBIs in his first bat, 2 RBI single to give the Capitals the lead again. And hits a foul tip. He's falling behind in the count 0-2 also, just like Nick Miceli did. 0-2 pitch, fouled back. And he stays alive. Migliori for another swing. Ball's in play. Migliori waits for the pitch, and it comes. And he swings and misses, but it gets past the catcher. And so Riccardo Migliori advances to first base, which doesn't happen all the time. So on the third strike, if you swing and miss and the catcher does not hold on to the ball, he has to record the out at first base. And since the ball scooted through the legs of the catcher Chongo Rivera, Migliori advances to first base. So gets a strikeout and single on an error, or reaching base on an error. Marquez goes over to first base. No problem there for Migliori. Migliori, not the biggest base stealing threat on the Capitals. Oh, with one out, and there's another throw over to first. It's Marquez keeping the runner honest. Eddie Stommel is the hitter. He flew out to deep left field his first at-bat. Another 5-10 feet, and he would have had a home run that first at-bat, but Marquez is preoccupied with the runner on first base at the moment. Eddie Stommel is still waiting for the first pitch to come from Marquez. That one is a curveball that catches the outside corner for strike one. Marquez showing a propensity to get ahead on the hitters. That one's low in the dirt. For ball one, 1-1 now. As it's got also a little chilly with wind.
Come on, John.
I brought a jacket. I know it. I know it's going to get cold. No, it's Bonn. It's always the same. Once the sun sets, it gets chilly. Doesn't matter. July.
We are in
October.
early May, so next week it's getting hotter.
Those are just rumors. And to the shortstop, who tosses weakly to the second baseman, and he can't hold on to the ball, and so all the runners are safe. That is the third error of the game for Kurosawa. Have to call, hard to say if to call that error on the second baseman covering. That was Tenesela, but the toss was weak, and so Kurosawa is getting a little bit of a earful from Ascui saying, "Hey, come on, throw the ball a little harder on such plays." And now runners in first and second with one out. Eric Blank with his third appearance. He's 1 for 2 with the single. Hit here, could well score a run. Marquez looks back at second, throws home, and gets strike one. Oh, and 1 count now. Runners on first and second for the Capitals. That one's inside. 1-1 now the counts. Zala dashes to second, dashes back to his position, and the count goes to 2-1. As now the wind is blowing in from center field. We've had about every possible wind direction this game in less than an hour and a half. Almost an hour. And Eric Blank pulls that one into the Berlin dugout. That makes the count 2-2. Migliori on second, Eddie Stommel on first base. Marquez pitches and ground ball to Marquez, to Kozawa, and out at second. Eric Blank beats the throw to first. And Migliori can go to third base on that play. Oh, on the force out, 6-4. That brings up Wilson Lee with 2 outs now. Runners on the corners. Capitals looking to add some runs. Scored in the first 2 innings. Were denied any runs in the third. Chance here for Wilson Lee to do some damage, and he hits a ground ball to Ascui, who can't get a clean handle of the ball, and his throw hits the grass, and Wilson Lee beats the throw to first, just barely, scoring a run.
Yeah, but again, weak defensive play, you know.
Yeah, the Flamingos defense has let them down this. Ground ball to the third baseman, Ascui. He has to go to first and throws out the runner, Lamb Hunt, to end the 4th inning, but not before 1 run scores, an unearned run. And that makes it 4-1 for the Capitals. This is CapsTV.
Ein Team, überall live. Fußball, Eishockey, Basketball, alle Spiele live. Jetzt auf magentasport.de buchen. Dein Sport, dein Team, überall live. Fußball, Eishockey, Basketball, alle Spiele live. Jetzt auf magentasport.de buchen. Dein Sport.
Mia hat zu Hause einen richtig schönen Designboden, der aber auch leider oberflächige Schäden und tiefe Kratzer aufweist. Dr. Schütz hat dafür die Lösung mit Produkten für die Reinigung und Pflege, wie das Designboden-Pflegeset und um tiefe Kratzer zu beseitigen, das Scratch Fix Repair Set. Und damit Mia genau weiß, wie man ihre Böden zu Hause perfekt pflegt und schützt, gibt es unsere Tutorials auf dem Dr. Schütz YouTube-Channel. Für Mia und euch alle. Damit muss sich Mia nicht mehr um ihre Böden sorgen, sondern kann ganz beruhigt unsere Caps anfeuern. Go Caps! Das ist Mia.
And Noah Lynch back on the mound to face the lower part of the batting order of the Flamingos, starting with the catcher, Chongo Rivera. He hit a single in his first at-bat, 1 for 1. And he takes ball on the first pitch from Noah Lynch. And there's a foul ball hit down the right field line. One and one is the count now, and that curveball into the dirt. Ball 2. And that That one gets away from the left-hander. Outside for ball 3. 3-1 now. To the catcher of the Flamingos. He wraps a grounder to Sanchez, throws the first, and that's the first out of the inning.
It looks so easy when Daniel Sanchez is doing that. So great play here from the third baseman.
And now that's been a position, right, in the last couple of years where the Capitals weren't always happy with some of the performances. So having
we had last year Joe Wittig playing that, and I mean his defense play was okay, but his throws were not very nice.
They were erratic at times.
Yeah.
The batting now, Philip Thomas, the DH. That first pitch brushes him back for ball 1. And he takes a big cut for strike 1. Noah Lint has now retired 7 batters in a row. That one's inside and low, ball 2. Thomas wanted that one. He liked that high pitch. He was behind on it, and count is now even at 2-2. And Lint with yet another strikeout. Kelly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 strikeouts for the youngster. Stepping to the plate is the second baseman, Dennis Zala. Zala struck out looking in his first at-bat. 8 batters in a row have been retired. Zala with a 111 batting average so far this season. 1 for 9. Danny Sanchez moves to the edge of the grass after Zala squared the bunt. Squares a bunt again. That one's straight back at us. Thank goodness for the fence. It's 1-1 now. That's inside of his feet. As the count goes to 2-1. Zala awaits the pitch and hits a slow roller to Eddie Stommel at second, and he throws out the second baseman of the Flamingos. And that is another 1-2-3 inning for Noah Lint. And the score remains 4-1 after 4.5 innings. This is Caps TV.
Zuerst Wechsel. Nicht mehr im Spiel der Berliner Starter mit der Nummer 35 Nobel Marquez Ramirez. Soll spielen jetzt mit der Nummer 74 Santiago Us.
The Flamingos are going with a pitching change after 4 complete innings from their veteran Norbert Marquez, who gave up 4 runs.
This is a surprisingly early change on the mound.
Yeah.
I don't know what Berlin is planning. Maybe Norbert will play a few innings tomorrow. Who never knows?
Have to wait and see. As for now, the right-handed pitcher for the Flamingos is Santiago Us, like Noah Lint in the under-23 team, but for Italy, not Germany. And his first pitch goes behind to the backstop to Danny Sanchez, who's leading off. Vinny Arlens follows him. He's in the on-deck circle. And in the hole, Danny Lankhorst. So far, Uz has pitched 6 innings, and that ground ball to the shortstop, Kurosawa, who successfully throws out Danny Sanchez this time. He's had some problems so far this game, but he records the first out. Uz does with the help of his infielders. And now stepping to the plate, batting from the left side is Vinny Arlens.
Yeah, our switch hitter.
Switch hitter. And that curveball is high. The switch hitting catcher. Oh, Vinny Arlens has reached base on an error and has hit a single. 1 for 2, sorry. Curveball pulled the string on that one, and Vinny Arlens was way ahead. The count goes to 2-1 now. With 1 out. One's outside, 2, 3-1 now the count. There's one wrapped down the first base line. Tim Wagner can't get a play, can't make a play on it. Bounces off his glove, and to wait and see what they call that one, but when it hits your glove that cleanly, you should make the play. It'll probably be yet another error.
And Vinny not very satisfied because he wanted to run further.
Yeah.
But the first baseman was in his way, so no.
That pitcher was covering there and
covering, yeah.
Didn't move out of the way. Now standing in is Danny Lankhorst. Runner on first base, fouls that one back. Lankhorst has a bunt single, 1 for 2. Pitcher throws to first. Arlen safely. Runner goes. And no play. No play made. And Vinny Arlen steals second base. Putting him in the scoring position for Lankhorst. That curveball just past the shoulder and brings the count to 1-2. Runner on second base. That curveball, and Danny Lankhorst puts that into center field, and And it falls in front of the center field. The left fielder didn't even try and make a play on it. It was left center field, and he's left fielder also sort of
limping
a little bit. Yeah, he did something to his foot or his ankle. He seems to be favoring one. And Jeffrey Arndt was too far away, so that bloop single, Texas Leaguer, falls in for Donnie Lankhorst. Vinnie Arlen's advances to third, which brings up Nick Miceli, the DH. Nick Miceli's 0 for 2 today. Pitcher Ooze still finding the range here with some small location problems. And that ball is high, and that one, the throw to second, not even close. But the second baseman made a good play to stop it from going into center field, which would have allowed Vinnie Arlen to score. So now runners on second and third base. Nick Miceli could pick up a couple of RBIs potentially as Danny for Sanchez. One. So low and outside. Now shot. The balls are missing the strike zone. Frequently outside with an occasional tight inside pitch, but not finding the plate much. And he goes back to the fastball, strike one.
Alles gut, das ist ja da.
With the 2 outs, the runner, and the pitch, honestly, it came pretty. Two and two, curveball, and that's just got his bat on it to save himself for another swing, and the count remains 2 and 2 with 2 outs. Capitals have loaded the bases here in the bottom half of the 5th. Fastball. Oh, and Eddie Schummel puts that one out in the right field, though, and the right fielder gets under it. And Jordan Bradley missed a chance to boost that lead, increase it. Nevertheless, the score stays 4-1. This is CapsTV.
DHL, Bonn-Gas, Robinson-Welfare, Tokobo und wir sagen Danke an die Stadt Bonn für die Unterstützung des Bonner Base- und Softballsports.
Season, Maurice Wilhelm has pitched in two innings, should say 2 innings pitched, surrendered 2 hits, 3 strikeouts. No runs have scored against him, no earned runs. Now the count 1-2 to the first batter for the Flamingos in the 6th inning. And he takes ball 2. It's 2-2 now, the count. The sidearm is ball 3. Payoff pitch, grounder to Eric Plank, and he can't clearly handle that one either. There's a bunch of errors in this game so far. E6 for Eric Plank as the leadoff hitter reaches base for the Flamingos, and that brings up the left-hander Tim Vekna, who has struck out twice and has the thankful task of facing a right-hander. It's tough facing left-handers when you're a left-handed hitter. And Wilhelm throws to first. Kurosawa back safely. And pitches outside low to Wegner. The Flamingo shortstop with a sizable lead, and he runs. And then there's a ground ball that eats up Eddie Stummel, who was running to second. And now the throw to third is not in time. Oh, the Flamingos now have their first two batters on base in the top half of the sixth. That ball took a bad bounce, might have hit the seam between the grass and the dirt. Eddie Stummel seemed to have a beat on it, but then it jumped over his glove, allowing Kurosawa to advance to third base. And Maurice Wilhelm faces his first challenging situation after just two batters. Well, the score is 4-1 if you're just joining us. The Bonn Capitals are playing the Berlin Flamingos. And he squares the bunt to Collet, and he instead takes ball or strike one. No outs so far. Drops down, and there's a play to Lamb Hunt at first, who goes to second base and then back to first. Beautiful play, 3-6-3. Excellent piece of fielding and throwing by Dan Lamb Hunt. But the run does score on the play. Yet another double play with a run scoring. That's the third one in this game. Now nobody on base. After the first two hitters got on, one run scored, a double play eliminated the runner and the batter. And Jordan Bradley in this game, he has hit a double, 1 for 2. He takes his second strike after fouling off the first pitch. Fouls that one down the right field line, and that looks to be out of play. Yeah, it's out of play. Hits the bullpen tin roof. The count remains 0-2 to the right fielder of the Flamingos. Delivers, strike 3. And the end of the top half of the sixth, but not before one run crosses the plate for the Flamingos, reducing the lead to just 2 runs, 4-2. This is Santiago Uz remains on the mound for the Flamingos. And he'll be facing the top of the order of the Bonn Capitals, starting with Eric Blank, followed by Wilson Lee, and then Dan Lamb Hunt. This is the 4th time through the order for the Capitals. Eric Blank is 1 for 3. And that slow curveball in for a strike.
That was a good pitch for a hit.
Yep. Eric Blank might have been expecting a fastball. Next curveball, and there's a shot into center field, and that's going. And it's off of the warning track, and Eric Blank has a stand-up double. After he launched that one up close to 400 feet.
Yeah, if he would have done that over the left field, it
Yep.
would have been over the fence.
Yep.
So. But nice, because they need to work on their hitting. 4-2 is not.
Second hit of the game for Eric Blank. That's his 5th double of the season. Now Wilson Lee stepping up to the plate. Naturally a home run threat as he takes his first glance at Santiago Uz. And he takes ball 1. Eric Blank is running, and Santiago Uz didn't even see.
That was interesting.
Santiago Uz was probably concentrating on the signal from the sign from the catcher, and nobody really called out. And Eric Blank was practically 10 feet away before there was even a throw made. Oh, Eric Blank steals third base. Noticing that Santiago Uz was not paying attention to him for one thing and was simply deeply focused on his catcher. Now Wilson Lee takes ball 2. The Capitals looking to get that run back that they surrendered in the top half of the inning and maybe a little more. Curveball inside, throw down to third, not in time. Count goes to 3-0. Wilson Lee must be expecting a fastball here, as Uz's curveballs have been a hit and miss affair, or hit or miss affair, with more misses than hits, and that's right down the middle for strike 1. As Wilson Lee took that all the way. Count now 3-1. Runner on third base for the Capitals. And he hits a fly ball to shallow center fielder, and that shallow left field, and that's a Texas leaguer also, as the left fielder Tovar Collet couldn't get on his horse quickly enough, and now he's holding his lower back. It looks like his wheels are not spinning very smoothly.
Obviously not.
No. But that drives in a run, the Texas Leaguer single by Wilson Lee.
Texas Leaguer single, so.
Yeah, that was a Texas Leaguer. Yeah. A little pop up behind the infield. Yeah.
And if I look to their
Looking at who,
lineup card here.
So Gen Utamara would be a potential starter for tomorrow, although his ERA is extremely high.
No, and there's this Fonteviva or something like that.
Yeah, Fonteviva also has a start to his name. And so after an extended conversation with Santiago Uz, and Orabel Marquez returns to the dugout, the Berlin dugout, and that brings up Dan Lamb Hunt. Now Dan Lamb Hunt is looking for his first hit of the game. He's 0 for 3. Did reach base on an error. And that one's also, and that's called strike, although it looked high from our vantage. Wilson Lee at first base. After that RBI single, a throw over. He dives in. Safe. Capitals first baseman waits for the pitch. The curveball, and that's strike 2. Swing and a miss. Chongo Rivera has had his work cut out for him, with lots of balls ending up in the dirt. Done a good job. The only real mistake you could say was when a third strike went between his legs and the runner advanced. And there's a shot down to third base, left field
Inside,
line, and that's
on
in.
the line.
On the line, and it's That's going to bring home Wilson Lee. He gets the go signal. Throw is held up, and that's a RBI double for Dan
So
Lamb
Wilson
Hunt.
had to run fast.
Wilson had to get on his horses there. And that was a shot. The left fielder was far off the line. And
Just
it took him a
on the
while
line.
to get over
we could
there.
see it from here. So
Chalk kicked up. Oh, now Capitals have scored 2 runs with their first 3 batters in the bottom half of the 6th. They have a runner on second base. There's still no outs. Ooze steps off the mound. Chase Lamb Hunt back. Score is 6-2, and he does it yet again. Oh, Lamb Hunt had barely left second base. Now, he had to. He was probably a little embarrassed after Eric Blank more or less stole third base before anyone noticed. So he doesn't want that to happen again. And I'm sure the catcher is telling him, go ahead, pay a little more attention. The count's now 1-0 to Danny Sanchez. He's also looking for his first hit. Fouls that one back. That one must have hit the lighting because it was flying far, far away, and then all of a sudden it ended up in the stands just below the floodlights here. Nobody hurt though. Counts now even at 1-1. Danny Sanchez fouls that one back and falls behind in the count 1-2. Curveball, and the shortstop had gone to try and keep Lamb Hunt honest, and that's exactly where Danny Sanchez hit the ball, where the shortstop had been, and that drives in yet another run, third run into the inning. Danny Sanchez gets his first hit, a single. Three runs already, nobody out yet. Stepping to the plate is Vinny Arlins, who reached base on an error in his previous at-bat last inning. And since they're keeping Ooze in the game despite having had a visit once already, I'm wondering if the Flamingos are writing this game off.
Yeah, we are not sure. I mean, they didn't bring that many pitchers, and they need some pitchers tomorrow.
Yeah.
So this is why it was so interesting that fly out.
High fly ball to the center fielder.
This is why I was wondering why Annabelle Marquez left the mound so early.
Yeah.
So
Well, the first out of the inning. Fly ball to the center fielder. And that brings up Danny Lankhorst, who is 2 for 3 in this game. The center fielder takes strike one. Score is 7-2. And that curveball is in the dirt for ball one. Ball two. Danny Sanchez on first base. And that curveball, swing and a miss, way ahead on that one. The count goes to 2-2. Who steps off the mound? Capitals looking for more runs. 5-run lead at the moment. Sanchez steals. And he's safe, but Daniel Lankhorst strikes out in the process for the second out of the inning. Well, Capitals getting their fair share of stolen bases this game also. I believe 3 so far. Nick Miceli steps into the batter's box. He's 0 for 2 with a walk.
Yeah, he's waiting for a clean hit still.
Yeah. And that slow curveball is fouled back. Oh, the curveball is Santiago's bread and butter pitch. Next curveball is called strike 2. Oh, Nick Miceli in a hole. That was low, and Sanchez was running on the pitch for yet another stolen base. Capitals with their 4th successful stolen base this game, and that boosts their season total from 8 to 12, 50% increase. Nick Miceli wraps that one. Look out, Max. Max Schmitz had to move a little bit to get out of the way. The count remains 1-2. They're 2 outs. And it's the bottom half of the 6th inning when the Capitals are leading 7-2 against the Berlin Flamingos. Curveball outside. Count evens up 2-2. Curveball hit back to the middle. The shortstop covers it. Throws to Tim Vekna for the 3rd
But
out of the inning.
Miceli does not run through. I mean, this is... You have seen that it's possible because Eric Brang did that in the first inning if you're fast enough. Anyway.
But the Capitals score 3 runs in that half of the frame, and the score is 7-2. This is CapsTV.
Ein Team, überall live. Fußball, Eishockey, Basketball, alle Spiele live. Jetzt auf magentasport.de buchen. Dein Sport, dein Team, überall live. Fußball, Eishockey, Basketball, alle Spiele live. Jetzt auf magentasport.de buchen.
Mia hat zu Hause einen richtig schönen Designboden, der aber auch leider oberflächige Schäden und tiefe Kratzer aufweist. Dr. Schütz hat dafür die Lösung mit Produkten für die Reinigung und Pflege, wie das Designboden-Pflegeset und um tiefe Kratzer zu beseitigen, das Scratch Fix Repair Set. Und damit Mia genau weiß, wie man ihre Böden zu Hause perfekt pflegt und schützt, gibt es unsere Tutorials auf dem Dr. Schütz YouTube-Channel. Für Mia und euch alle. Damit muss sich Mia nicht mehr um ihre Böden sorgen, sondern kann ganz beruhigt
Moving
unsere
to the
Caps
7th
anfeuern.
frame.
Go Caps!
The Capitals pitcher Wilhelm will be facing the middle of the Flamingos order, starting with third baseman Michaelis Cui, and then center fielder Jeffrey Arndt and the catcher Chongo Rivera. First pitch to Cui, called strike one. As he'll have to deal with the sidearm slinging right-hander of the Capitals. And there's one hit to Eric Plank, the shortstop, who gathers that one in smoothly. Throw out the third baseman of the Flamingos for the first out in the 7th inning. As Cui trots back to the dugout, and that brings up center fielder Jeffrey Arndt. Arndt has scored once, struck out looking, and he takes a big cut, strike one. One out already. Morris Wilhelm delivers, and that changeup has Arndt fooled for strike two. Wilhelm ahead on the count, 0-2. Third pitch comes, and that one's called low for ball one. That one's also low. The count goes to 2-2 against the Flamingos' third or center fielder. And Wilhelm cashes that one in. And that is his second strikeout, which will bring up the catcher, Joel Chongo. Well, Chongo has a single, 1 for 2 today. As Morris Wilhelm seeks to set down the side here, 1-2-3, and he's ahead on the count, 0-2 to the Flamingo catcher. Ground ball to Danny Sanchez. He fields it cleanly. Dan Lamb Hunt catches it cleanly, and that's a 1-2-3 in the top half of the 7th. No runs scored. Capitals are ahead 7-2. This is CapsTV. Well, the last warm-up pitch for Santiago Uz as we begin the bottom half of the 7th inning. And coming into the game for the Capitals in left field will be Justus Leckie replacing Ricardo Migliore. Oh, Migliore exits 1 for 3. Justus Leckie has 9 at-bats so far this season with 1 hit.
Yeah, Max Schmitz is looking. Justus is a strong hitter. I mean, at least the last 2 seasons he was a strong hitter, but this season he's still waiting for really get the bat running, so to speak.
Yeah, get some hits. As he fouled that one off of his foot as he's walking around gingerly. 0-1 the count on Leckie. Curveball. It's called hit by pitch apparently. Wasn't very quick to react. The umpire was the one who reacted most quickly. So Leckie hit by pitch, takes first base. That brings up Eddie Stommel, the second baseman. It's flied out twice, reached base on an error. Justus Leckie with a healthy lead.
A taller hitter would have been hit by pitch. So.
Yeah. There are advantages to being small sometimes. Fastball is called strike. 1-1. Eric Blank in on-deck circle. Throw over to first. Leckie dives back in safely. Santiago Uz now in his 3rd inning. And that's called ball. As the bottom part of the order looks to produce. And he wraps that one right down to third base line. Inside third base, Eddie Stommel rounds first. Justus Leckie, he gets the go signal. He's going to run home and he's going to score. And then the ball gets past the catcher, allowing Eddie Stommel to advance to third base. So the double and then an error. Oh, RBI for Eddie Stommel. It's
So
the diving Escu, he couldn't
Quick
stop it.
start for Justus Leckie. So
Yeah.
hit by pitch, and then you have to run.
Yeah, run. It looked a little bit like Wilson Lee. Like, is this going to stop anytime soon? But Max Schmitz had the windmill turned on, sending the runner home. Now Eric Blank, who's 2 for 4 today, steps up to bat. That curveball is called a strike. Score is 8-2 now. 6-run lead for the Capitals. Santiago Uz remains in the game. Man, Eric Blank's hot shot to his hit to the shortstop,
Sounds
who
like
was
a
on the
broken
grass.
bat,
Yeah, it
so.
might have been a broken bat. And 6-3 on that. The infielders for the Flamingos stay in near the grass. Wilson Lee comes to the plate. He has 2 hits so far today.
I never expect a bunt from Wilson Lee, so never.
Now they obviously the Flamingos doing everything to keep the score close, and that one gets past the catcher, and Eddie Stommel scores Bonn's 9th run on the wild pitch. Well, Wilson Lee misses his chance to hit an RBI. The count's now 1-0 after that first pitch. Bases are empty. High for ball 2. A high fly ball right at third base. Escui gets under that for the second out of the inning. Sorry, that's first out. Yeah, second out.
Second out.
Eric Lenk was the first out. Yep. Second out of the inning, and now Dan Lamb Hunt will step to the plate. He hit a double in his last at-bat. Outside, ball 1. Gets a little bit under that one, and the left fielder gets under it for the third out of the inning, but not before 2 runs score, thanks to an Eddie Stommel double, and with the help of some miscues, could score, and the score is now 9-2, heading into the 8th inning. This is CapsTV.
Wir danken auch der Stadt Bonn für die Unterstützung des Bonner Base- und Softballsports. So. Wechselabschlag.
Oh no, that was Philip Thomas. Sorry. Yeah. And lots of changes coming here now. As I misspoke there, it was Philip Thomas was the first hitter. And Eric Ortiz has entered the game for Venezuela, assuming that he will stay at second base, but there may be position changes as Neverauskas continues to deliver heat. Strike 2, 1-2 now to the new hitter, Eric Ortiz. Who takes ball 2, 2-2 now. 1 out in the top half of the 8th inning. That just misses as Neverauskas gives a blows out from between his teeth, wondering why that wasn't strike 3. 3-2 now the count, 1 out. And that one is called strike 3 as Eric Ortiz tried to steal his way onto first base, you could say. But the home plate umpire had none of that and sent it back. Looking strike 3. It's the second out of the inning, and Neverauskas looking to do yet another 1-2-3 as the base runners have had trouble, or the hitters have been trouble reaching base for the Flamingos. This is Patrick Kozawa. He reached base in his last at-bat on an error and came around to score. That fastball's outside. Count goes to 2-0 to Kurosawa. That one's low, ball 3. Oh, the new addition of the Capitals has an arm.
Yeah, definitely, but he's still sometimes, like last week in Dorn as well, he needs to find his zone. So
Yeah, and that one's high.
here that's 4 straight balls.
Four pitches, 4 balls, and Kurosawa takes first base.
I mean, if he is in the strike zone, there's hardly any chance to hit him. So
Players, only the really good hitters are going to make contact on him, put the ball in play, reach base. Now Tim Wegner comes to the plate. Runner on first base, Kurosawa with the lead. And this time Neverauskas throws a curveball, but that's high and outside. That's 5 balls in a row. There's one right down the pipe. Strike 1 on Tim Wegner. One and one pitch. Curveball, strike. Now the count goes to 1-2. That one's inside. 2-2 now the count. Good play there by Vinny Islands to keep the ball in front of him. And looked appealed to the second base umpire who said Tim Wegner checked his swing, and it's now a full count, which means the runner on first will run on the pitch. He's off, and Wegner fouls it back and jammed him. Tough luck there for Neverauskas. Good pitch on the fists. Payoff pitch coming. Runner goes, another foul ball. Well, count remains 3-2 after 2 foul balls in a row. And
another walk.
Neverauskas can't find the strike zone on that hitter. 2 walks in a row. Which will bring up the left fielder Gabriel Tovar Collet with runners at first and second. Neverauskas overpowering, but having some control issues at the moment. Two down. Score is 9-2. Capitals leading. And that fastball's outside.
It's another ball. So he needs to find the strike zone.
Yeah. That fastball is called low. Yet another ball. That's strike 1. The 2-1 account. Tovar Collet looking for his first hit of the game. He's 0 for 3. Next pitch comes. Strike. Now the count's gone to 2-2. Next pitch comes. Grounder to the first baseman, Lennart Vela, who throws to the pitcher covering for the third out of the inning. No damage. 2 runners reach base on walks. Score is still 9-2 as we head into the bottom of the 8th. This is Caps TV.
Genug, das muss reichen. Bei der Champions League haben wir länger gespielt. So, 9:2 also der Spielstand. 7,5 Innings gespielt. Das ist nicht Insomnia, auch wenn mein Video das gerade mal aufnimmt, das klingt irgendwie wie die Kershaw. Ja, ist es auch.
Okay, Basketball. Alle Spiele live. Jetzt auf magentasport.de buchen. Dein Sport.
Here in the bottom half of the 8th, looks like there might be another change. No, there's Mark Schmidt's handing a ball. I thought there might be some new players coming in. And the expected leadoff is number 8, Danny Sanchez. Third baseman so far today is one's popped behind first base, and Tim Wagner gathers that one in. Foul out. Which brings up Vinny Arlen's. Well, Vinny Arlen's has 1 hit in 4 at-bats. Has managed to reach base 3 times, 2 times on errors. And he hits one to left center field, and the left fielder dives. Tovar. Very nice play there. Nice play there by Tovar Collet for the second out of the inning.
That was quick.
Laid out. And 2 quick outs. Danny Lankhorst steps into the into the batter's box. He's 2 for 4 and he gets hit. He takes first base, and that's going to bring up the DH, Nick Miceli. Nick Miceli is 0 for 3 today with a walk. Looking to get wood on the ball and putting the ball where the fielders aren't. Or as my dad said, hit them where they ain't. And he gets hit by a pitch also. His one in the back. 2 in a row. 2 pitches, 2 hit by pitches. Runners after 2 quick outs.
Okay,
had
so
2 hit by pitches.
but that gives Justus Recki a chance to try to hit the ball.
Yeah, he also used to
Because he was hit by pitch, I think, the inning before, right?
he was.
Yeah.
So Bonn Capital players are hesitant to enter the batter's box, as Santiago Uz has had problems throwing pitches inside, and it looks like
Finally.
Enormo Marquez is going to pull the plug, puts his arm around the shoulder of Uz, and still looking to see if he has taken the ball from his hand. No, Uz still has the ball in his glove. I don't know if he's resisting or Marquez is giving him words of encouragement.
Actually, I think for the last out he was just leave him on the mound. So.
It's quite likely that this would be his final out. But with 2 hit batsmen in a row, Justus Recki also was hit by a pitch, and that one's called strike 1. Strike 2.
They're not getting any better, Justus.
You have to swing if you want to get a hit. 2 outs, runners at first and second. Next pitch, curveball is high. Curveball is outside. 2-2 now, the count. Santiago Uz's pitch count is very high. First 4 innings, Enormo Marquez pitched, and since then, and starting in the 5th, Uz took over, and he strikes out Justus Recki for the 3rd out of the inning. With the score 9-2, we're entering the top half of the 9th and possibly the final at-bat for the Berlin Flamingos in the Saturday evening affair. But before counting our chickens before they hatch, we have to wait for that to happen. And we'll be back in a few moments. This is CapsTV.
Wechsel auf dem Out. Neues Spiel. Nummer 27. Paul Schmidt.
Mark Schmitz goes to the bullpen once again.
Yeah, this is what, of course, he was announcing that, of course, he will give all his pitchers a chance because what they are looking for, what they're preparing for is the Champions Cup in June.
Yeah.
And they need a lot of arms there because they have 5 games in 5 days.
Yeah.
So and all the pitchers, of course, should get their practice.
Yeah. They'll definitely need to get their pitch counts up. Feel comfortable with Paul Schmitz. He's had 6 innings already under his belt, or he has 6 innings under his belt this season with a 0.00 ERA. And to start the 9th inning and the possible last at-bat for the Flamingos, He faces Jordan Bradley, who wraps a single into right field. Goes the opposite way.
Talk a bit about tomorrow. We have another game coming up tomorrow at 12 o'clock. So second game against the Flamingos.
Runner goes.
Supposed to be nice.
Vinny Arlen's throws that one into center field, and Jordan Bradley will advance to third.
Not a good throw here, so no chance.
Yeah,
for
went in the back of Eric Blank, and he couldn't put the brakes on quickly enough. So that's an error. Stolen base and an error will give Jordan Bradley, who's on third base now. Count is 1-1. And you wanted to talk a little more about tomorrow?
Yeah, because we have another game coming up. Weather is supposed to be good, so you either come to the ballpark, would be nice, but of course you can see our live stream as well. And then, that's the weekend, and we have the next games at home. Next week, the Capitals go to Hamburg.
Yeah.
And then in 2 weeks, we have within 4 days, we have two games. We have on the Sunday 22nd, and then on that Ascension Day, we have another home game. So.
Yeah, that series in 2 weeks against Paderborn, probably the highlight of the first half of the season. Those are the top teams in the North Division. Fouled back, and the count remains full, 3-2. One out. And swing and a miss. A second strikeout for Paul Schmitz. As Jeffrey Arndt retreats to the dugout, having struck out 3 times today. And stepping to the plate. This is Felix Kunusch. He's pinch hitting for Joel Chongo, the catcher. Strike one, 1-1 now the count to the pinch hitter. Curveball in for strike 2. 1 strike away from ending this affair.
Quick game here tonight. 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. Next pitch comes. Strike 3. Swing and a miss. And the Capitals win this and won 9-2. The win goes to Noah Lind with 5 strong innings yet again. And the relief corps did a good job, only having surrendered 1 run in 4 innings. And tomorrow, as you said, Angela, another game at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, so we are here. Hopefully you are here, or you are on in the ballpark, of course.
Yeah,
why
come
not?
to the ballpark if you can. If you're nearby, enjoy the great scenery here, the good weather at the moment, good food, good cheer. Capitals win the first game of this 2-game series on Saturday evening. It's by a score of 9-2, and that's all I have to say. Anything else to add?
No, that's it for tonight. So we see you tomorrow and enjoy the evening.
It's Angela Beckman. I'm John Klumpers. Have a good evening.
Und wir sagen Dankeschön an euch, an unser Publikum. Das war wie mal schön mit euch. Dankeschön. Den Berliner Fans wünschen